It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation. And good morning. It's a terrific Tuesday with Trish and Nathan. I finally got to use the terrific Tuesday with Trish.
There you go.
I've been looking forward to that for a while. Good morning, Trish. How are you today?
I am fantastic. Yes, today is Tuesday, not Thursday.
Will you be back on Thursday as well?
I will be back on Thursday
All right. Well, Sandra's out of town this week.
That's right.
Or out of the office, or out of the studio this week. And so we're excited to have you here. I get to be with you on Tuesday and Thursday. And,
yep. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'll be here this week. So, yeah.
Be fun.
Had to set the alarm a day early, but that's okay.
Well, it's the revolving door around here.
It is. You never know
every single day is a new adventure. But we're excited to have you guys along with us this morning as we jump into this Tuesday edition of Talkback on April the 29th, 100 days of President Donald Trump. Today is the day.
And that's all the news has been full of, right?
And they're full of it, too. Trust me.
They are.
I mean, the takes are so different, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Depending on what you're listening to, it's so crazy. Mm-hmm. How they spin it all. So, yeah, just bounce around the different stations and see the difference in the coverage on all of this.
Well, I have about 10 different tabs that I automatically open up for my show prep and reading different things, and the range is all over the place. I mean,
yes.
One of them's like he's stumbling towards the 100-day mark, and others are like, celebrating the great victories that he's had. And so we want to do today is invite you to make your calls to us and let us know what are some of your favorite high points or maybe some low points of your thoughts on President Trump's first 100 days in office, his second first 100 days because he had one 8 years ago.
Yep.
But share with us things that you think have been significant in this marker that kind of began under Franklin Delano Roosevelt. That was when the first.
Is that when they really started going? Yeah, okay, the first 100 days. Because what made the first 100 days?
What's the big deal about that?
What's the big thing? Yeah.
So, but that will be. We'd love to have your calls on the BOM talk line 318-442-8255. At 7:45, we'll be joined by Wilbert Carmouche from Travel Avoyelles, and he always brings in an array of sunshine. And I just love listening to his accent.
I do too. I just love listening to him.
He'll bring us a full sheet of activities.
There's always so much going on in Avoyelles Parish. We think there's a lot going on here in Rapides Parish.
Yeah.
There's so much going on in Avoyelles Parish.
And then he's going to give us a French word of the day. Typically, he does that, trying to teach us French, one word a month.
Which, I took a lot of French in my life. I mean, all through junior high, high school, college. I had so much French, and I still can't talk any of it. That's okay. Again, just love listening to him.
Well, I'm from here, but there was a little season we lived in Lafayette when I was a child, like third and fourth grade, and French was mandatory down there. You had to take French.
I bet so.
And of course, they're trying to bring the Louisiana culture back and bring save the language.
Mm-hmm.
But I can remember, en deux trois. I can count to 10.
Yeah, I can count. I can count to about 20.
you got to 20.
I say the days of the week, those things. Yeah. Although I'm sure my French was a little different than your French because I was not learning anything that had anything to do with Cajun French. Not in the middle of Ohio, in the middle of Amish country, I guarantee you.
Well, no, you're
surprised I wasn't learning Dutch. Yeah.
You might could have, should have, would have, but
I know, and they didn't offer it at school. That doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Because again, that's the Pennsylvania Dutch,
the number
form
2
of German.
German.
Yeah. I don't know why, but yeah, outside of him, I mean, we might have a couple other call-ins. We'll have to wait and see, but it's your show today, so you guys need to call in. Tell us what you want to talk about. Lots of things going on in the world, lots of things happening locally. So
otherwise, you'll be listening to inane chatter for an hour and a half, 2 hours. So
yay.
We've always got stuff to talk about, though. I mean, there's a whole. We were talking before the show about the Catholic Church and of course the funeral is. Certainly something the whole world is paying attention to, and then the conclave will begin.
Yeah, we now know that the conclave will begin on May 7th, and on that day you'll have as many as 135 cardinals that will enter the Sistine Chapel, and they're sealed off.
Right.
Once they enter, they're sealed off from contact with the outside world, and then we sit and watch for the smoke.
Right.
And I was really hoping, so my daughter is doing her semester abroad in Rome, And I'm so excited for her. I mean, what a time to be studying in Rome right now. But she won't quite be there. I know the conclave won't take that long for her to actually be there watching for that smoke. But she will get to meet a new pope.
We hope it doesn't take 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But
and if you look back in history, I know my dad and I were both looking into this a little bit, and the longest conclaves in recent history. Again, I'm sure it's been longer, but back in 1922, it took 5 days, and that's the longest one in what you call recent history since the 1900s. So
Francis was selected in 1 day,
right?
So that was pretty unanimous, it seems like. So there's only one vote the first day, and then after that, it's up to 4 votes per day. Is that right? That's my understanding of it. Is that the first day there's simply one vote, and then after that they could have up to 4 a day until the selection is made.
And you need 2/3. So the politicking is going on strong once they get locked into that room, right?
Well, there's a big difference between a majority and 2/3. That's a big difference. Folks pay attention to those numbers. And, I was sharing with someone yesterday, a very devout Catholic who, takes his faith very seriously. And I had heard about a cardinal from Africa named Robert Serra, I believe is his name. Yeah. And he has been pretty outspoken against what he considers the liberalness of the church, even Pope Francis. And so some are saying that he might be a contender, and this particular person felt like that, he didn't know if it would be in the cards or not, but he certainly did agree and felt like there was a need for more of a conservative bent. And so, and a lot of my Catholic friends, at least, now, again, I have a very small circle. It's not a global circle, but a small circle, and most of them are conservative by nature.
And I think that's what you're going to see out of this, too, is are we going to go back down that, and I say we, both my husband and I were raised Catholic. Yeah. I mean, this was a part of what we knew growing up. Is that going to be where everybody really, really wants to lean into at this point in time and with what's going on in our world? Or...
you're talking 1-point-something billion followers.
Absolutely.
And it's an important position, no doubt about it. So a lot of attention will be placed on that. And my prayers are for them to make good choices. I desire to see, good choices for them.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, you've lit up the lines already, so we're on. I'm not sure if it's the Pope or the 100 days. Let's go to the phone line. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Trish and Nathan.
Hey, how y'all this morning?
Doing good. How are you?
This morning.
Good. I thought I had one here that might make y'all chuckle a little bit.
We could use it. Go for it.
All right. Y'all mentioned something about a French word a while ago. Reminded me of this little story. The teacher was giving each child in the class a word, and the child was supposed to give the description or the definition of that word. And she said the first word is paralyzed. And the little Cajun boy in the back of the room raised his hand. I know. She said, okay, go ahead and tell us what it is. He said, paralyzed. That's when you tell two lies side by side.
That's greght.
That's cute. I like that.
Well, appreciate that call. And the other caller has dropped off, so the phone line is open for you, 318-442-8255 on the BOM talk line right here on Talkback on Tuesday morning, April the 29th, 100 days of President Donald Trump, which we will be discussing with you guys a little more, hopefully after the bottom of the hour break. And again, we have Wilbert Carmouche coming in at 7:45. I was looking back at where the first 100 days really started. It was there in Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Of course, he was elected during the Depression, the Great Depression, we should say, and he was trying to, stay out of the fray during the transition. And so what he did was set this mark of, count me to see, what I've done. And so set this mark. And so he wanted to be, and of course, he was a master of communication. He's the first president to really use the radio. And so it was that 100-day mark on the radio that people listened. And so ever since then, presidents have been judged on their first 100 days. Which I think, I mean, in a 4-year term, that's a really small window of time.
It is a small.
But I don't know how many people have done as much as President Trump has done.
I was going to say, I think if you put his laundry list down and everything, but you know what? And I've said this from the beginning. You know, the difference here and how great this is. The difference is he's not running for re-election.
True.
He is not treating this presidency like, well, I still have to get the votes in 4 more years. So how do I border what I'm going to do? He's doing. And, you know, if, again, looking at the different news coverages, he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do on the campaign trail.
No,
Which, how refreshing is that somebody that campaigns and says, here's the things I'm going to do, and they're doing it.
No doubt about doing what he said he was going to do. We'll talk about that and more after this break at the bottom of the hour with your phone calls on the Talkback for Tuesday, April 29th, 2025.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. President Donald Trump is on track to ease the impact of his auto tariffs with changes sought by the industry that would lift some tariffs on foreign parts for cars and trucks made inside the U.S. A White House official said that imported vehicles would also get a reprieve from separate tariffs on aluminum and steel. Planes are considered used once they're flown for any reason rather than testing and delivery. Delta Airlines is using that to its advantage to get around U.S. import tariffs. The airline is flying a new Airbus jet through Japan before it comes to the U.S. Data from FlightAware shows that the A350-900 is set to leave Toulouse, France tomorrow, arriving in Tokyo the following day. Delta used a similar strategy to sidestep tariffs in 2019. People are still spending money on cruises. Royal Caribbean raised its profit outlook for the year as cruise demand continues to defy a travel slowdown overall. Futures are mixed this morning after a mixed start to the week for Wall Street. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BON Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BON Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
Welcome back to Talk Back on this Tuesday morning. Terrific Tuesday with Trish and Nathan. Glad to have Trish along with me on this day. That means I get to be on the other side of the board, and normally
that's true. Normally you're sitting over here on Tuesday, huh?
Right. So I get to do both.
But you're in control over there.
Well, we'll see. You keep reminding me when the phone comes because you can see the light. My peripheral vision is faded with my 100 days or so, my 60 years.
Right.
So we're talking about the 100 days.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
This is your time. Call in. Give us your opinions. I love that. One of our listeners did text me and said the best part of the first 100 days is seeing the true colors of the Democratic Party.
Wow.
I mean, that's a pretty great statement right there, right?
That's really what you've seen, though, in a lot of ways. And they're floundering, looking for a leader, trying to find somebody to step up. I mean, there's no way America will accept an AOC as the face of the Democratic Party. But that's what Senator Kennedy said. He said,
scary?
Our goal for her is Operation Let Her Speak. I remember him saying that. It's like, we want her to talk as much as possible because he feels like it helps the conservative cause. So let's go back to the phone line. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Trish and Nathan.
Hey, guys. I love what Trump has done during the first 100 days of deportation, getting people out of our country and making no buts about it. He's going to get people out of our country. Securing our borders north and south. Those are important steps for keeping a sovereign nation.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
If nothing else, he has delivered on that immensely. Tariffs are going to hurt, and they're going to hurt for a little while. But if it sets us back up on a more even keel, puts America first, it's worth a little hurt to get in a better position. You can't have big change without a little bit of hurt.
And I mean, you're definitely going to see that in your industry, and so but understanding that versus again, where the people that are crying like, look what he's doing to our economy, look what he's doing to our economy. Yeah, you have to understand that this is the way that's got to play out and take place to bring it all back to America.
That's it. It's going to take a little hurt for us to get more manufacturing in America. I mean, those are good quality jobs, and they were for generations. You know, people retired from manufacturing plants.
Absolutely, yes.
That's not something that happens very much anymore. I mean, how much manufacturing do we have in our area? It's pretty limited. There are a few places, but it is pretty limited. You know, that would help keep kids at home.
Yep.
As far as the Pope, I hope they go conservative. Born and raised Catholic, I was never a fan of this last Pope. I thought he was far too liberal. There are things that the Bible says that should not be taken out of context, and I felt he did that quite often. I'm hopeful for some change in the Catholic Church, or at least the Catholic Church leadership, I guess is how you say it.
Well, I think you know that's what Trish is, as a lifelong Catholic, feels, and as an observer, I would love to see that happen as well.
Yeah, I think it bring it back to your roots. You know, this is where we started it I say it's where we started. I didn't start the Catholic Church, you know, how many hundreds of thousands of years ago, but you know that it wasn't started on liberal ideas. You know, that's not where the Christian faith got its roots. It was with generosity and compassion, but there's a difference between generosity and compassion and just giving away things and being overly accepting, not trying to help people make right decisions.
Well, and none of us have the secret knowledge to know who it's going to be, but that expression that you're giving, I think many, especially here in the South, Southern Catholics I'm hearing that quite a bit.
Well, it's good to know I'm not the only one that feels that way.
Right? That's right. Well,
have a great day, guys.
Thank you, man. Appreciate your call as always.
Appreciate the call. And yeah, back to the 100 days and the border. And then I can tie that right back into the listener that sent me that text about seeing the true colors of the Democratic Party right now. I mean, the whole Maryland man thing is such a glaring example of that when you've got, you know, the congressman going down there.
Senator from Maryland who does not even go and visit the lady in his state whose daughter is killed. Exactly. But he goes to El Salvador. So I had someone send me this yesterday. It was 4 pictures, and it says, this is what the media wants you to believe. And it had, number 1, picture of Joe Biden, sharp as a tack. A picture of Shadur Sanders, first-round pick. A picture of, was it Katy Perry? Astronaut.
Yes.
And then a picture of the guy, Maryland dad. Right? So it's like, this is what the media wants you to buy into. Right. And as you look at these stories that are out there, and wow, you look at the apprehensions, and I was listening to some I don't have the clips to play for you this morning, but listening to Tom Homan in a press release yesterday, or a press conference yesterday, the things that he was saying about the accomplishments they've done, the 15,000, the numbers of thousands that were poured in the United States under Biden. He said, Biden opened the door, invited, and that's absolutely true. Right. I travel to Mexico a lot. I see, I saw this after President Biden was elected. The caravans began in earnest. The people saw it as a green light to come across, and now they're screeching to a halt. I mean, literally, the caravans are non-existent, the camps are gone, and people understand. And I was thinking about this. I don't think any of us look down on somebody who's truly wanting to improve their life. And
absolutely not.
Many of the immigrants come across, they work their tails off, spend 80% of their money back home.
But they're doing it the right way.
Well, but there are even some who are illegal who are doing it. They're coming across, and they want to be here for 3 or 5 years to build up a nest egg and then go back home and have a life. It's not legal, but I'm saying I don't think people feel as bad about that as they do the gangbangers, the people who are coming across abusing the system, the violence that we're seeing.
Well, look, this was one of the clips I saved yesterday was from Pam Bondi when she was talking about how that raid on that Colorado underground nightclub. She said, the Biden administration ignored 170 tips about this underground nightclub. She said 170 911 calls about that club in specific. And then they went in and arrested over, 100 of these MS-13 and these other gang members. She said this club had prostitution, drug trafficking. Like, you walked in and they asked you, here's a checklist of the drugs. Which do you want? The shootings that were happening there, all of these things happening that were completely ignored. Yeah.
That's the thing that's so frustrating is the ignoring of out, and many of the people that, the president has a picture of like 100 posters around the White House today, and many of them were crimes against children.
Oh, yeah.
And almost all of them, the arrest warrants were placed under Biden's administration, but nobody
acted on them.
And in the first 100 days, there's 100 of them gone now, plus many, many, many more. So that's definitely one of the victories. I just chuckle at the headlines, though, as I look. You do a Google search for the first 100 days, and you see headlines like this: AP News, Trump keeps some promises in the first 100 days. MSNBC, Americans frustrated over Trump not delivering his first 100 days. And then
the big one they keep pulling up is he said he was going to end the Ukraine war with, the minute he got into office.
All right, so he missed one out of...
but look at what he's... Who is responsible for the fact that is still where it is right now?
I don't want to say it. I might get in trouble with the callers. But when we come back, we'll have Wilbert Carmouche of Travel Avoyelles to bail me out of the spot. So stick around more on Talkback.
KSYL. You too could have a beautiful smile in as little as 12 weeks. Exclusive to today's Dental in Pineville. Virtual Align Clear Aligners. The fastest, most convenient, affordable way to straighten your teeth for people on the go. Plus, they're invisible. No one will know you're doing it. Experience the Virtual Align difference. Call Today's Dental at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. 448-4540.
Deal deals are happening now. From instant savings on select tools to free battery offers on some of our most popular battery tool sets. You can enjoy great deals and do it all with Steel. Shop online or in store at your local Steel dealer. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Shay Dixon joins us after LSU lands a top 100 cornerback commit, and we'll preview LSU baseball at the box. 3-6. Alexandria's 94.7 ESPN.
With the conclusion this month of the third season of the popular HBO series White Lotus, much attention has been paid to the locations of each season. Maui in Season 1, Sicily, Italy in Season 2, and the island of Koh Samui in Thailand for the just completed third season. Interestingly, all the shows centered around guests at a Four Seasons hotel. Here's why that's interesting. From America's #1 travel radio show, this is your Arm World Travel Minute. I'm Rudy Maxa. If you've seen the White Lotus series, you know the content is very adult-oriented. And hotels, especially fancy ones, abhor negative publicity. In 1990, the producers of the movie Pretty Woman, starring Richard Gere and Julia Roberts, were turned down by numerous hotels where they wanted to set their movie because the plot revolved around Roberts as a prostitute. Until the Beverly Hills Four Seasons said, okay. The hotel industry was shocked, but the movie was a big hit, room reservations surged, and 35 years later, people still pass that hotel on Wilshire Boulevard and mention the movie. Want to book a hotel room on Koh Samui, especially the Four Seasons? Move fast. More travel info at armworldtravel.com.
This is Secretary of State Nancy Landry. The Heritage Foundation ranks Louisiana second in the nation for election integrity. This further confirms that our elections are safe and secure. As a reminder, important deadlines are quickly approaching ahead of the May 3rd election. Visit govote.com, that's GEAUX vote.com, or download the free GoVote mobile app to find important election information. And remember to go vote, Louisiana.
Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
Welcome back to Terrific Tuesday with Trish and Nathan on KSYL. And it's even more terrific because Wilbert Carmouche of TravelAvoyelles.com is with us. Good morning, Wilbert. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm fine. Sorry about you.
Hold on. I forgot to do that. Try it again.
that all is well.
There you go. I'm not going to say the same thing I did when Greg Walker was up here and we had that happen, because what he said next was not appropriate.
Okay. Thank you.
Radio.
Thank you very much. I don't know what you said. I missed that one, but I'm glad you're not going to repeat it. So I don't think Wilbert would say what Greg would say.
I don't think so.
Wilbert's
he might
pure
say something in French.
He may think it. He'll say it in French.
The difference between you and Greg Walker.
You going to teach us a good French cuss word? Is that what? No, okay. No. I put the idea in his head.
I think you learned those first.
Yeah.
All right, so Wilbert is here representing TravelAvoyelles.com. Phenomenal website, but even more phenomenal stuff taking place in Avoyelles Parish in the month of May.
Absolutely, and we have something for everyone in the month of May. We started off on May 1st with 8:30 in the morning. Can you imagine this? With a beanbag baseball tournament.
Wait, what?
That sounds kind of neat.
Baseball.
So you're heating beanbags instead of a baseball.
Exactly. And these are for seniors. And I'm not talking high school seniors, okay? I'm talking like us seniors.
What? Okay, us seniors. I was just about to ask, what age range are you considering seniors?
I'm going to say inclusive.
Trish is the youngest person in the studio, I'm pretty sure. So.
Exactly.
Optional.
I think everybody in the room, we could either play or cheer. So choose your ammo right there. So call the Council on Aging for this information, 253-9771. And now something for the youth. Cajun Crossroads Festival is at the Hesmer Ballpark on May 2nd and 3rd for their annual Cajun Crossroads Festival. T-ball tournament, and here you go again, for children and for adults in a co-ed game.
Okay.
So, in my case, I could bat, but I'd have to hire somebody to run for me. So that might make me a little bit easier. So, T-ball baseball tournament, food, games, music, and of course, fireworks at the end. That's the Cajun Crossroads Festival in Hesmer at the Ronald Mayu Ballpark, May 2nd and 3rd. May 2nd and 4th, it's a sports weekend that just continues on. We have the Tunica Biloxi Invitational Golf Tournament at Paragon's Tamaka Trails. That is the 2nd through the 4th. Telephone number 240-6305. May 3rd, Praise and Worship at the Fox Theater in Marksville, 7 p.m. in the evening. Go to marksvillefox.com for information. And then, we've got to replenish those calories that we've burned off. So we have a barbecue dinner at St. Francis de Sales Church in Echo, and that is on May 4th. Tickets, 264-5615. A Mother's Day Tea Party, sponsored by the Avoyelles Council on Aging in Marksville. That's May 8th, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Again, that phone number, 253-9771. That brings us to the Mother's Day weekend and our French word of the day, cochon, meaning pig, and it's time for the Cochon de Lait Festival, May 9th and 10th.
So why do so many of us say couchon instead of cochon?
Well, it just depends on the dialect that you're trying.
Is it bad pronunciation, or is it couchon in some places and cochon in others?
It's cochon.
It's cochon.
It's cochon.
It's just lazy English speakers.
Yeah, there you go.
But I'm happy that someone is trying. I mean, I'm all about it. It's like when they say, what French do you speak? I said, it doesn't matter, just speak it.
All right, now you said it's the word of the day, but you haven't given us the translation yet. I think we know, but...
Cochon de lait means roast suckling pig. And if you're going to go there, and that's on the 9th and the 10th, they've changed it a little bit up from several years back when it used to be a 4-day festival. Now it's just 2 days. Mm-hmm. And nothing happens on Mother's Day Sunday.
Okay.
Because this is a volunteer-driven festival, and moms want to be home.
I can't blame them.
Husbands want to be home with the moms, and the children want to be home with the moms, and the moms wants everybody there, but she wants somebody else cooking.
I say, very nice of you not to have the moms cooking on Mother's Day.
Exactly. So,
probably number one grill day in America.
Yeah, right.
I'm not mistaken.
Or crawfish boil in our
Or that's true. That's right.
So that's May 9th and 10th. At 10 o'clock on the 10th is the grand parade that comes down Main Street, ends at the grounds. And the tickets are on pre-sale for the meal at cochondelay.com. But the meal will be from 11 to 3 on Saturday only. But then you can buy from the vendors that are there. There will be food vendors there as well. So that's Cochon Delay Festival, downtown Mansoura, May 9th and 10th. A ladies' brunch and paint on May 10th at the Sarto Old Iron Bridge. Facebook, Big Ben Museum, 1927 at Gmail. A health and wellness expo after you eat all that cochon. 4 days later at Paragon's Maury Center, May 14th, 10 to 2. 253-2015. And then another cultural event is the Tunica Biloxi Powwow, third weekend day. So we have a festival, first weekend, second weekend, third weekend day.
Of course you do.
Of course, it's Avoyelles.
It's Avoyelles Parish, exactly. That's May 17th and 18th at the Tunica Biloxi Reservation on the Powwow grounds, tunicabiloxi.org. And if any teachers are listening right now, they have an education day on the 16th.
Nice.
So go to tunicabiloxi.org. There is a tab to schedule your class for a day and see if there's still some openings there. Boots and Roots over at Paragon Casino Resort on May 24th at 8 p.m. Doors open at 7. ParagonCasinoResort.com for more information there. And then we ended all out with an alligator feeding show. No, we're not eating alligators. We're feeding them. Okay, we may be getting them ready for consumption. That's at Paragon Casino Resort on May 31st, 4 p.m., which is always the last Saturday of the month.
Very nice. So how do you say Avoyelles in French?
Avoyelles.
Avoyelles, okay.
Avoyelles, which is a Native American term, meaning flint people or people of the rock.
Wonderful.
So, and we've seen it in writing, so then whenever I do my talks, I'll say, I've seen it in black and white, that we have the hardest heads of it. Flint people, people of the rock.
It is the center of Louisiana.
Centre de la Louisiana, exactly. So when you're in for the holidays or for these festivals, make sure you go to the center of Louisiana and take a selfie there, post it to our Facebook page, Travel Avoyelles, and then you can say you've been to the center of Louisiana.
Y'all got that selfie place set up right there for people to go take a shot. That's at 1860 Old River Road in Mansoura.
That's exactly right, free and open to the public.
All right. Wilbert Carmouche from TravelAvoyelles.com telling us the word of the day, cochon.
Cochon is jour de mère, Mother's Day.
Very good. Happy Mother's Day to everybody from Avoyelles Parish.
Absolutely. Thank you for having
Wilbert
me.
Carmouche.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Jeff Landry is working hard to bring down outrageous insurance costs. Jeff is holding both trial lawyers and insurance companies accountable because they are both to blame. Last year, Governor Landry signed 27 bills to fix insurance and fight lawsuit abuse. This year, Governor Landry is fighting for more to stop frivolous lawsuits, stop uninsured drivers from suing, and end trial lawyer ads that promote a culture of suing. Landry listened to insurance companies and signed into law nearly every bill they promised would drive rates down. Well, insurance broke their promise and rates went up. Now Landry is trying something new. Hold insurance companies accountable when rates go up. Our insurance commissioner should have the power to reject their rate hikes when they rake in billions in profit. To learn about Governor Landry's plan to fix our insurance crisis, visit fixthecrisis.la. Paid for by Protect Louisiana Values.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
They told us nothing but lies.
These timeshare thieves out there are terrible.
They bullied us.
Our timeshare is all a scam.
They stole from us. They were thieves.
I was completely taken advantage of.
Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder and CEO of Wesley Financial Group, and I know the tough spot you're in. Are you asking yourself, why did I buy that timeshare? I'll tell you why, because that presentation wasn't a normal sales pitch. It was a show to convince you that timeshare is a great investment. They told you it was available today and today only. They said you're foolish if you don't buy, and unfortunately, you believed them. We get over 3,000 complaints a week from folks just like you that were misled into buying a timeshare. Give us a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-885-3300. 800-885-3300. 800-885-3300.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talk Back.
Welcome back to Talk Back. Terrific Tuesday with Trish and Nathan. That's just got a nice ring to it. I like that.
Yeah. Well, you know.
I keep saying it over and over and over, and people are going to remember it. Terrific Tuesday with Trish.
But I'm not here on Tuesdays normally.
Not
so
normally. That's why it's so...
Not normally my usual day, but that's all right.
All right. Well,
I love the middle of the weekdays.
It's kind of nice,
Yeah.
So I've gotten used to the Tuesday-Thursday routine, and then, I fill in whenever. It's kind of interesting because we really, we're a male-female show every day of the week, traditionally.
Yeah.
Unless there is an anomaly where it's an all-girl or an all-guy show. But it's kind of nice having that back and forth. So,
we all have a different way of, again, we get to partner with somebody different every other day, and so it leads to new discussion, and
not the same old.
Nope, not the same old.
So you fed me a little news that we're going to go into in the next hour, a couple of pieces that are interesting. I saw a clip from the White House Correspondents' Dinner. The one that I saw was them talking about the release of, I think, a Washington Post reporter or some reporter that had been captive for 16 or 18 months, and he was lauding the freedom of the press and how important it was, and kind of taking a shot at Trump with, the Associated Press being kicked out of the briefing room for a while because they wouldn't call it the Gulf of America. And so that was the clip I saw. The clip you sent me was different and perhaps a little better. So we'll play that.
We'll talk about all that after the top of the hour, and we've got some time to do that, talking about, the previous White House administration and what the press had to do with a lot of that. So, but I know we got a call we can try and fit in before the top of the hour times us out here.
Good morning. You're on Talk Back with Trish and Nathan.
Good morning. I have a short story about the French language.
Okay.
I'm originally from Texas, and I met my husband, and he is from here. So when I came here to meet his family, his grandmother said, "My name is Laura Richards and not Richard." Of course, being from Texas, I had no idea what she was talking about.
Right.
But she's a sweet lady. She was a sweet lady.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And that's a tough one. Richard, Hebert, Herbert.
I know.
In Louisiana, you don't know without asking.
No, because it's all spelled the same. Like, okay,
that's right.
Which one is it? And then, of course, you pick the wrong one.
Right. Yeah, if you do it, I guess. So which part of Texas did you come from?
Well, I was born in Arkansas, lived in El Paso, in Waco, so we get around.
El Paso is like another country. I saw the other day that the distance from Port Arthur to El Paso is like almost 900 miles. It's closer to go to Chicago from Port Arthur than it is to go to El Paso. Crazy?
From Little Rock to El Paso was 1,000 miles.
Wow!
And when we first did that, and back in the 60s, there was no interstate. It took 24 hours.
Oh my goodness!
So now with the interstate, it takes 18 hours.
Yeah. Wow. It's amazing. It's amazing what these interstates have done for travel.
It has.
Yeah, but you're right. I can drive to Chicago faster than that. Not much faster, but
all right, guys, I got to get on with my day.
Well,
have
thank
a good day.
you for your call on that story. I appreciate that very much.
I love that.
That's lovely, yeah. So Richard, not Richard, yeah.
Hey, I had to learn all kinds of stuff when I moved down here, too. I mean, again, being from the middle of Ohio and Amish country, I mean, you had Smith, you had Miller, all of those very, very plain, easy to pronounce names.
Well,
right?
y'all still also have some German names up there, too. Lukas Schocker and, Bernschmidt. And I'm kidding. I don't know what they are. But so the funniest joke I ever heard was this couple was driving from Shreveport to Alexandria on I-49, where they were from Texas or Arkansas, someplace, but they're halfway between Shreveport and Alexandria, and they're arguing about how to say the name of the town. And so they pull into this place and they say, "Look, we're arguing about how to say the name of this place. Can you say the name of this place and say it really slow? Because my wife doesn't believe me when I tell her how it's pronounced. And the girl behind the cash register is looking at him. And he's like, no, really, just say the name really slow so that she'll know how to say the name. And she goes, okay, Burger King. Everybody's expecting Nackadus, right? Nackadus. Awesome. So there you go. That's my contribution for the humor of the day.
And with that,
the music's playing.
Next hour.
We may have a phone call from the Louisiana legislature. We won't let you know. I mean, we'll let you know when it happens, but I don't want to tease it in case it doesn't. But have one of the legislators that may call in and give us a little insurance update, and we'll have some clips from national news right after this.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting. FM 104.9, AM 970, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3 HD3, Alexandria. It's 8 o'clock. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump is headed to Michigan for a rally celebrating the 100th day of his new term. White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt already declared it a huge success.
After building the greatest economy in the world in his first term as president, President Trump is in the process of doing that all over again. The American people trust in President Trump.
CBS News has learned Mr. Trump will announce American car makers will not be subject to 25% tariffs on imported steel and aluminum. Mr. Trump's tariffs and threats about making Canada part of the U.S. have propelled Prime Minister Mark Carney to victory. Correspondent Ed O'Keefe from the U.S.-Canada border.
The Liberals have won at least 168 of the 172 seats needed to fully control Parliament. Counting continues today. On Monday, the president once again had suggested that Canada should become the 51st state, would make things easier. But as he marks 100 days, the election results are a reminder that his economic policies and his foreign policy have very little support, if any, overseas.
Officials outside Springfield, Illinois, say they do not believe a driver intentionally plowed a car into a building hosting an after-school program. 2 7-year-olds, an 8-year-old, and an 18-year-old were all killed. Chatham's Deputy Police Chief Scott Tarter.
The vehicle struck multiple persons outside of the building before continuing through the building and exiting out on the west side of the structure.
The driver was not injured. The cause is still under investigation. High-level meetings underway at the Vatican ahead of next week's conclave to choose a new pope. CBS's Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk.
Just like the film Conclave,
Sede vacante.
or translated from the Latin,
The throne of the Holy See is vacant.
the process of choosing the next pope has already begun, with cardinals meeting regularly, behind closed doors, of course, to discuss what qualities and priorities the next pontiff should have, and to deliver speeches laying out their own vision for the church.
Her students can't heap enough praise on Ashley Crossan, 2025's National Teacher of the Year.
She taught me a lot about finding your own identity and finding your passion with things.
Crossan teaches English at Mifflin County High in Lewistown, Pennsylvania, including advanced placement, language, and composition. She tells CBS Mornings authenticity is key.
Especially at the high school level, students are trying to figure out who they are, and they need to see that from their teachers too. If we want them to figure out their identity, then we have to be ourselves as well, because they're going to learn through what they observe.
Dow futures up 175. This is CBS News.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at Progressive.com.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Well, these polymers aren't as flexible as batch K3.
Researcher Laurie is stretched thin.
Did you get the vulcanization analytics from V66? Wait, are these rubber spores from last week?
She needs to hire new lab technicians so she can bounce back into her old self.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our matching platform lets you spend less time searching and more time connecting with candidates. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Jeff Palermo. The House Transportation Committee voted 6-5 against a measure that sought to eliminate the state's vehicle inspection sticker program. The bill's author, Stonewall Representative Larry Bagley, argues that the requirement to get your vehicle inspected is government overreach.
This is just part of overreach by government that I'm trying to do away with. We don't need the government doing that. I mean, we can do that on our own. I think most of us here certainly have vehicles and we can keep up with them.
Critics argue inspections are often not properly conducted. However, inspection station owners insist the program promotes road safety and maintains vehicle standards. Neil Underwood represents inspection station owners, warned that removing the requirement could lead to increased accidents and higher insurance rates.
There's been a lot of talk about if this bill increases crash rates, what impact will that also have on our insurance rates as well?
Louisiana Radio Network.
When buying a home or property, you have a choice for your real estate closing attorney. Fine Legal Services, LLC is a full-service title company offering residential and commercial real estate closings, title insurance, and more. Call your Alexandria, Louisiana attorneys, George Fine and Jeremy Cedars, at 318-767-2226 to learn more, or visit fine-lawyers.com. Let your realtor and lender know that you choose Fine Legal Services.
Well, good morning. Partly sunny skies on our Tuesday. Another warm day, but you'll have a good breeze to go along with that. Afternoon highs near 88. We'll see winds out of the south at about 5 to 10, gusting as high as 20. Tonight, partly cloudy. Get down to 66 for the overnight low. And our Wednesday, a mostly cloudy day, 87 for the afternoon high. And again, that wind still a factor, gusting as high as 20. And that's your forecast from the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center. I'm Dave Gratian. Currently 71 degrees in Cenla.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 27 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
We do welcome you back to Talk Back on this terrific Tuesday with Trish and Nathan. Glad to have you along for the ride. We've had a very patient caller on the line all the way through the break. Good morning, caller. You're on Talk Back with Trish and Nathan.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for taking my call. I was wanting to call up, talk about something that somebody said yesterday. One of the callers is one of the regular callers, made an excellent point, but at the end of his point, he used the word Democrats, and he said, well, let me qualify that the leftists. And I wanted to make the argument that there is almost no distinction anymore. Cornelius and I go round and round about good Democrats and bad Democrats, but we have to take a toll. And the Democrats have there have been several famous people, in Cenla who have left the Democratic Party. They left the Democratic Party silently. And Reagan said, "I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me." During the Clintons, they talked about abortion, and they said abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. Why rare? They acknowledged that it was a tragedy for a baby to die, that in an abortion a baby does die. They didn't call it health care. They didn't try to erase the baby. But now they're to the point where they want to shout your abortion. They actually fired one of the heads of Planned Parenthood because she made a comment that in some way pointed negatively towards abortion. So I'm wondering if there are any good Democrats, what will it take for them to come out of that party? AOC was on a tour with Bernie recently doing their Stop the Oligarchy tour, and that's a whole other different call. But, she said, perhaps America does have to fall. And she said, from the ashes, we will rebuild something better. Now, that is a startling statement.
It really is.
It is. And if that doesn't tell people who are hard work, because listen, were it not for the quote-unquote good Democrats, we wouldn't know AOC. We wouldn't know Ilhan Omar. We wouldn't know any of them, because everything they do with the power given to them by the quote-unquote good Democrats who are lending their name to that organization. Right now, the country is about evenly split between Republicans and Democrats. We slightly passed them last summer in our push to sign people up. I know that was a disappointment to FedEx Sam, but it's very close. It's been a few hundred of each other. Why is this? I don't think vast majority of those people are the same radicals who are running their party. This Hall kid that got second in command for the DNC, him and that old guy from New Orleans, what's his name? That old Democrat.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, bald guy that was kind of Clinton's.
Carville, James Carville.
Yeah.
They're having a running battle. Carville's calling him a punk, and look, he wants to get rid of the old Democrats. And he thinks he's leading. He doesn't think he was elected the assistant. I don't know who the main guy is, but you don't hear anything about him. They are out to purge their party of people that had any link to true Americanism. So I'm saying, what is it going to take for these people? They're just think of the last 4 years. How many lives were changed irreparably because of the efforts of the Democratic Party? How many people died at the hands of illegal aliens? Died horribly. What about that young volleyball player who had her face crushed by the man that they let play on the other side of the net from her? Now she has permanent brain damage. Instead, were it not for the Democrats, the quote-unquote good Democrats, instead she would be now playing college ball and planning to have a family. We have to stop being nice.
Well,
and when somebody says I'm a
I think somebody's got to call it out, like you're saying, Dave. And one of the things that surprises me is when somebody on the left does something so egregious and outrageous, and it's not called out because, as you say, we play nice. And that's changing now, it feels like, with the judges that just got arrested for harboring illegal aliens or allowing one to escape out the back door. And the liberals are screaming their heads off that, this is interference from the right. But the right is finally saying these are the kinds of illegal activities that the judicial branch, or the liberal, ultra-liberal wing of the judicial branch has created, and it's got to be called out. So I think you've got a valid point that I think you can still be nice, but speak truth to power and say this is not right. Because isn't that what the whole thing with the little child and the emperor has no clothes? He just said, hey, why doesn't the emperor have any clothes on? And everybody else is like, oh, finally somebody said it. It wasn't mean. It was just a simple question.
Well, at our point where we live, it's not as pertinent because we're not getting hurt. Those people in that courtroom, they were definitely afraid of that man because he tried to beat him to death. He punched his girlfriend. Now they see the person who's supposed to be signifying law and order leading him out through a back door and safely releasing him. Now they caught him because they were expecting that, but there's no more rule of law. So when do we start calling them out? After they've destroyed the country? When she said that, perhaps America has to go down so that from its ashes we can build something better. That tells you she has no desire to see America prosper. She wants America to go down. And so anybody who's in that party, she's leading it. She's their highest poller now for president in 28. And so I'm hoping people will come out, and not come out silently, not sneak out the back door and close it quietly where no one can hear them. Come out and say, look, that's not American. That hurts people's lives. The system of Americanism allows people to prosper in a way no other system ever in history has ever done. So anyways, I didn't need to get so emotional, but it's important. And I appreciate y'all letting me rant. So have a great day.
Thank you, David. Always appreciate your calls, and good to hear from you and the perspective that you bring. Thank you, my brother. We've got a couple of minutes before we want to take our break, and then I did just get confirmation we are going to get a call from Representative Gabe Permit, so he's going to call around 8:20. But you want to set up this clip video from the press secretary for President Biden? You want to do that one first, or you want to do the White House?
I think the White House one kind of ties in first a little bit to, what we saw going on. We've talked about this. It depends on what media you're paying attention to. But interestingly enough, I know, both Al and I use Axios a lot in trying to get news that is
snippets.
So some non-biased kind of stuff here. But it was it was Axios's Alex Thompson who at the White House Correspondents' Dinner pretty much called them all out for covering up President Biden's lack of mental acuity. But again, this shows what we're being fed versus what journalism is actually about.
All right, here we go.
The White House Correspondents Association is as necessary as ever. President Biden's decline and its cover-up by the people around him is a reminder that every White House, regardless of party, is capable of deception. But being truth tellers also means telling the truth about ourselves. We, myself included, missed a lot of this story. And some people trust us less because of it. We bear some responsibility for faith in the media being at such lows.
I'm surprised he got an applause right there, to be honest with you. Because the faces on the crowd didn't look.
The faces of the crowd, that's
I
what
say this because acknowledging errors builds trust, and being defensive about them further erodes it. We should have done better. I believe our mission.
Wow, I got to tell you, I'm going to start following that guy.
Right.
So, but the faces on the crowd when he was talking were kind of passive. They're like, they were scared.
It was silent. They were like, where is he? Yeah, I think they were scared. What exactly is going to say here?
Then he got the applause, was acknowledged. They're all saying, you're right, we missed this one. And then you sent me this clip from The View where Karine Jean-Pierre, who is the press secretary for Biden,
admits that she had no communication with the president, which I am so surprised she went on the show anyways. But they talked to her for a little bit. We're going to fast forward to the very end of her time on there because what she says causes them to immediately, stop, go to commercial.
So let me pick this up midstream.
Need to actually answer those questions that I put forth. Who are we and what are we fighting?
And how do we meet the moment?
And how do we meet the moment?
Press secretary, you were also an assistant to the president. So that meant you were able to interact with the campaign off time.
Actually, I could not I had a special kind of role as the press secretary. I did not interact with the campaign.
So you had no,
I did not.
commissioned officer.
I could not.
Because so you had no insight into the polling that showed she would have lost everything.
I did not because
it sells. Well, it does matter.
Okay, here's what's going to happen. Hold on. We're going to take a break because you see this conversation getting going and come back with more with Karine Jean-Pierre.
Of course, Whoopi steps in and is like, she just said she has no contact. She had no contact with the president. She was being sent out there in front of the press and what she was saying every day, but yet no contact whatsoever. And so they just shut the interview down. Time to go to commercial. The end.
When they come back from commercial, they start talking about Trump as an existential threat. So it's like, let's don't talk about it. Even Whoopi's like, you see where this conversation is going.
Yeah.
Let's go to commercial.
Let's not go there.
Those two things are they're stunning in what they reveal.
Right.
That people did know the level of deception that was going on.
And that's we talked about that while it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And as news media, saying, look, you gotta really look at who you're paying attention to here and what media you're following and what are they feeding you. And yeah, both of those clips, I was like, now we're hearing all of this.
Wow.
At the same time that, just like you said, you go look at all of the headlines about Trump's first 100 days and, depending on the media outlet, they're like, oh, he didn't deliver on this or this. Never mind, he has delivered on these 50 other things that he said he was going to do.
Exactly. Right. So, and in those headlines I read a while ago, how MSNBC is framing the first 100 days. And even Axios was in they were like, he's stumbling. And like I think Americans are so sick and tired of hearing the force-fed stuff. And thankfully, Al touts the advantages of X all the time. I got to agree that's one of the places that you can go and at least find out for yourself in just a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're seeing it more because that's where I'm following some of these reporters on X. And it's some of the CNN reporters, a couple MSNBC reporters that are now coming out and saying, here's what was really going on.
Isn't that something? Wow. Well, I tell you what, we've got a couple of minutes to go before we hit our break, and then we're going to have Representative Gabe Vermitt call in. I want to play something from him because I don't want to take his time when he calls in.
Right.
But this is him on the floor, I believe, yesterday, talking about House Bill 436 that he authored regarding illegal aliens and lawsuit claims. So let's listen in.
President Landry, we could engage in these fictional scenarios and hypotheticals all night. Let me tell you who I'm more worried about. I represent people in District 22. I represent people who are parking their trucks and laying off families because they can't afford insurance. That's who I'm worried about, okay? So if you're here illegally, if you're breaking our laws, you're not entitled to all of the rights of citizens. This is one of those cases.
So we've been...
There you go, Representative Gabe Vermitt answering a question from Representative Landry on the other side, and his point is that illegal aliens should not be able to collect personal injury awards for things like anxiety or lost wages, because if they're here illegally, they don't have the same rights of everybody else that is a citizen. So Representative Gabe Vermitt, that was his quote from yesterday on HB 436, and hopefully we'll have him on the line when we come back right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
The cost of air travel is more than just the ticket price. It's also fuel, meals, lodging, parking, and time. The more we fly AEX, the better our chances of bringing back flights to Houston and Charlotte. Support AEX and help our community grow. Find your true cost at local.flyaex.org.
Got a big day ahead of you? Then it's best to fuel up with some of Cenla's best at Bricato's restaurant. Walk right in and just smell that home-style cooking. Place your order, take a seat, and do breakfast right till 9:30 this morning. Get fresh biscuits, eggs any way you like them, melt-in-your-mouth pancakes, grits, hash browns, sausage, bacon, even wraps and sandwiches. And don't forget their fresh brewed coffee. Bricato's restaurant. 28 West, right across from the Coliseum. Your breakfast is waiting for you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Shay Dixon joins us after LSU lands a top 100 cornerback commit, and we'll preview LSU baseball at the box, 3 to 6. Alexandria's 94.7 ESPN.
Hi, it's Tori DeVito. In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. Like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic. Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life.
I wanted you to know, from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now, that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
You see them almost everywhere. Panhandlers, standing on the corner with a sign. But the fact is, a lot of Cenla's homeless are unseen. And these are the people Central Louisiana Homeless Coalition is committed to help. Those in need can come in for a shower, do laundry, set up a mailing address, and connect with other local charities and housing programs. If you want to support people who are actually helping people, go online to Central Louisiana Homeless Coalition.
Teachers are diverse, skilled leaders, innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Teaching shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org, supported by the U.S. Department of Education and 1 million teachers of color.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BON Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BON Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
Now back to Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL.
Welcome
Welcome back to Talk Back on Terrific Tuesday with Trish and Nathan. And delighted to be joined on the phone by Representative Gabe Furman from House District 22 in Baton Rouge. He's actually in the Capitol right now. Thank you for calling in, Representative. How are things looking this morning? Are you tired? There we go. I got to push the right button. There we go. So I know you're. I said, "Are you tired?" And I didn't have the mic turned up, but I know you guys had a marathon day yesterday.
We did. I think we got off for at 8:30, but look, it was worth the effort. We passed 16 legal reform bills. So those bills are headed to the Senate now, and really, it's gratifying to see what happened yesterday because. This is really the culmination of many months of hard work by lots of members who, came out of last regular session saying we just didn't do enough on auto insurance reform. And so, for 8 or 9 months, we had a series of special joint committee meetings, and most of these bills that we passed yesterday are a direct result of those efforts.
Well, thank you for sharing. You sent me a list of the 16 bills that passed, and to know that 16 passed in one day, and many of these are, have some pretty big, could potentially have some big impacts, some of them smaller impacts, but cumulatively they should have a significant impact.
Yeah, no question about it. Look, what we have to understand, and what the voters and the people who are paying these exorbitant rates have to understand is this is a package of bills, and collectively they have the potential to really transform our market and to bring stability and competition and to give consumers options when they're shopping for auto insurance. And really that's the key, is to allow the free market to work if we're going to see downward pressure on premium. And so I wouldn't say every single one of these bills has to pass, but they'll certainly work better and will have more significant of an impact if we can pass the great majority of the bills, especially the really important ones. And there's 4 or 5 very, very important bills in here.
So could you tell us what you think are the most important ones?
Yeah, sure. So I would say really two or three bills I would put at the very top of that list. House Bill 34 by Representative Brian Glorioso just deals with transparency in medical billing. And anybody who's ever received explanation of benefits from their health insurance company understands there's a great differential in the amount of the bill and the amount that is actually paid. So this bill would simply say we're not going to withhold any relevant information from the jury. We're going to give the jury the amount of the bill, what was actually paid, and we're going to allow a testimony of what is customary and usual and reasonable for that kind of procedure in that geographic market. So really, it seems so silly that it's controversial, but it is to people who are benefiting from the status quo. So really, for me, let's get government out of the legal system. Let the jury hear all the information they need to make a good decision. So House Bill 34, very important. House Bill 431 by Representative Emily Chenevert would move us from a pure comparative fault system to modified comparative fault system. We're an outlier here. 40 other states operate under modified comparative fault or even a more stringent standard. And so really what this bill does is right now you can be 90% at fault for an accident, an auto accident, still collect a windfall judgment in a personal injury case. So this bill would more or less say if you're 51% at fault for an accident, you're not entitled to collect. So again, just common sense, fairness. Representative Peter Egan, House Bill 435, caps general damages on personal injury awards at $5 million. This is sort of a response to this proliferation of nuclear verdicts. I mean, we've seen verdicts of over $10 million, even as high as $400 million, $200 million. Sends a horrible message to not only to the insurance industry, but to anyone looking at doing business in the state of Louisiana. So other states have implemented these caps to limit general damages, and I think that's something that we need to look at as well.
Just transparency in the courtroom by Glorioso. Is this similar to the collaborative source bill that was vetoed last year by Governor Landry?
It is, yeah, same concept. So, collateral source is kind of a wonky legal term, and really it's just about transparency. And so I think that's kind of the better conversation to have. A little difference in the bills, but I will say this about the Glorioso bill. It's a good bill, but I would characterize it as a compromise bill. If you look at the collateral source bill that Georgia just passed, it goes beyond what the Glorioso bill does. So one thing to be watching is this legislation makes its way through the process. Is we have to maintain that bill in its current form. Any attempt, in my opinion, especially to remove the component that would allow expert testimony as to the reasonableness of charges. If we do something with that, it's problematic and it's not going to be as effective.
And can you tell me what the Housley presumption is? This is something I see that it repeals the Housley presumption, but I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so the Housley presumption is more or less a court precedent. Revenue Secretary Richard Nelson, when he was in the House 3 or 4 years ago, passed this bill. John Bell Edwards vetoed it. It got a similar bill got hung up in the Senate last year, and so it really just levels the playing field. So right now there's a presumption that if you're the injured person, if you're the plaintiff in litigation, there's a presumption that if you've got an injury that was not there prior to the accident, there's this presumption that the jury is instructed to presume that injury was the result of the accident, whereas usually the burden of proof would be on the plaintiff to prove his case, not the defendant to disprove it. And so this just puts both the plaintiff and the defendant on equal footing when it comes to determining the cause of an accident purported to have been the result of an auto accident.
We're at the bottom of the hour break. I know you need to get into your next meeting. What's the most important step that people can do now as these bills go to the Senate? Well,
I would say to anyone listening, if this is important to you, if you feel like the legal system abuses are out of control, these bills will rein it in. These bills collectively will make a huge difference to the auto insurance market. If this is important to you, call your senators, call all of your elected officials, and just let them know. And because look, I think you'll find that they listen to you.
Representative Gabe Furman, House District 22, thank you so much for what you're doing for us in Baton Rouge, and we look forward to more updates from you.
Yeah, anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Okay.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. UPS expects to cut 20,000 jobs this year and close facilities as it dramatically reduces shipments for Amazon. The company also backed away from its full-year financial guidance as President Donald Trump's tariffs pose new challenges for the package delivery market. UPS did report better than expected first quarter results. General Motors pulled earnings guidance for 2025. It's also putting $4 billion in share buybacks on hold until it has more clarity on the impact of tariffs. GM's move came as the company posted a first quarter profit that beat Wall Street expectations. Coca-Cola posted quarterly profit that beat the street. Consumers continue to purchase the company's beverages despite worsening sentiment and higher prices. Coke also said it expects tariff impacts to be manageable, and it maintained its guidance for both sales growth and profit. And at last check, futures were lower. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Dentures. You can't live with them, and you definitely can't live without them. But what if we told you there's a better way? Today's Dental in Pineville is here to revolutionize your smile. Say goodbye to old-fashioned adhesives and endless appointments. They've made getting implants incredibly simple, low anxiety, and affordable for everyone. Picture this. In-office IV sedation administered by a highly skilled, certified nurse anesthetist, making the procedure low anxiety and stress-free. And the best part? Their multiple finance options make implants truly affordable. Don't wait. If you're ready to replace those old-timey dentures with permanent implants, call Today's Dental on Highway 28 East in Pineville at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility owned by Dr. Jonas Gauthier. That's 448-4540. Your perfect smile is just a call away. Today's Dental, because you deserve the best.
In Central Louisiana, when you're talking great food, you're talking Southern Creations Country Lunch Buffet. At the base of the Jackson Street Bridge in Pineville, this Best of the Best award-winning lunch buffet is remarkable, featuring their signature fried chicken every day, an awesome variety of menu choices, and homemade desserts, including the now famous white chocolate bread pudding. No one does lunch better. Come have lunch with a friend or a group at Southern Creations. Daily menus posted on Facebook.
Steel deals are happening now. From instant savings on select tools to free battery offers on some of our most popular battery tool sets. You can enjoy great deals and do it all with Steel. Shop online or in store at your local Steel dealer. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last. Well, good morning. Partly sunny skies on our Tuesday. Another warm day, but you'll have a good breeze to go along with that. Afternoon highs near 88. We'll see winds out of the south at about 5 to 10, gusting as high as 20. Tonight, partly cloudy. Get down to 66 for the overnight low. And our Wednesday, a mostly cloudy day, 87 for the afternoon high. And again, that wind's still a factor, gusting as high as 20. And that's your forecast from the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center. I'm Dave Grayson. Currently 71 degrees in Cenla.
Talk back. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
We certainly appreciate Representative Gabe Furman calling in from Baton Rouge, where they had that marathon event yesterday, finished their work at 8:30 last night, and passed 16 bills that go to the House. You heard him talk about that. I don't know that that's
out of the House, head to the Senate.
Right.
So like he said at the end, you know, read up on these, pay attention to these, and if these are important to you, put a call into your state senator. Say, hey, where do you stand on these?
Mm-hmm.
Because I support them.
Absolutely. Well, they take your time to look at them. I don't know that he's posted them yet on his Facebook page, but he sent me a graphic. I'm trying to find, some graphics. Yeah. I'm going to see if I can post those to my page, and we may even get them over to the KSWL page. We'll try. But, it's good to look at those. One that jumps off the page to me is the discount for dash cams, and you and I were talking during the break. We know what we're getting everybody for Christmas this year.
Well, don't let the cat out of the bag.
They're not listening, are they?
Actually, my kids do listen.
Oh,
so, yeah.
All right. Well, happy birthday.
Do.
Sorry.
But isn't it crazy now how much like dash cams you have to have that because you could be completely not at fault. It can be somebody else's fault, and yet here you're the one like Representative Furman said, you're having to defend.
Yeah. Well, and I really do like the comparative fault that he talked about and modified comparative fault, because if you're over 51% at fault for the accident, you should be able to claim the damage.
Exactly.
Now, I do understand, like, if the officer were to say it was a 50-50 fault, then you both can get 50-50. I get that. But if you're 75% at fault, you shouldn't be able to claim any damages. I mean, really, or 25 at the most, but
agree.
Those get padded, it feels like.
Yeah.
Someone texted in, well, if I'm at fault, why do I get anything? And then they answered their own question. If I think it's because if I get a settlement, the lawyer gets a cut. So, and there were some lawyer fees being capped on one of the bills. punitive awards being capped. So there's a few things in there that look like they could potentially help. You know what, though? I really think there's another big piece of this, and that is just our mindset. We have been, it's kind of like the whole mindset, if something's wrong, take a pill. We bought into that. Well, if something's wrong, hire a lawyer, you know. I'm not picking at the end of jam messages, but that's really the message is, call me.
Well, every trial lawyer, I mean, you watch any local TV media, you know, anything, and that is all you see are those commercials.
Right.
And I mean, look how much money they're spending on commercials and owning the rights to everything under the sun. It's because that's how much they're making every time in their fees out of all of these lawsuits. So yeah, it's a mindset thing. That's the first thing people think of is, oh, well, who can I sue now? Oops, I fell down. Who can I sue?
And I don't want to disparage the industry because there are times you need a personal injury lawyer.
Right.
It absolutely happens. You're not made whole because the other person didn't have insurance or they were underinsured or they were at fault and denied. I mean, there are good and valid reasons for this industry.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's the abuses that we're looking at, and the money mills where I think some people know, you know, soft tissue injury and loss of consortium and, you know, anxiety. You get all these unquantifiable damages that you can get a $15,000 check for.
And what he was talking about, one of these bills here will talk about, you know, was that really a result of what happened? You know, and you having to prove that it was a result of what happened versus being something else in your life.
Right.
You know?
Right. You fell and broke your leg the week after you had the accident, and now you're going to try to claim the leg break.
Was it because of the accident? Because for some reason or another. Yep.
Well, it's really important that we pay attention to all of it, and not just, you know, I don't want to make a straw man out of anything and just beat people up for no reason, but I think if we can have an I hate to say unemotional, because it does get emotional when it's your money, you know, it's your pocketbook, but hopefully some clear analysis, and I appreciate the approach that the House has taken. Hopefully, the one bill he said that former Representative Nelson passed when he was in the House, and he's now in the governor's cabinet, maybe will help get that passed as well. So we'll see. Everybody pay close attention. We got to take a break. We'll be back with more on Talkback.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is Dr. Jonathan Hunter with The Clinics, where we pride ourselves in providing exceptional care. We offer a wide range of services, including primary care, family and chronic care, acute and urgent care, podiatry and gastroenterology, along with an on-site lab and x-ray. Our new family medicine physician, Dr. Noah Miller, is accepting new patients. Same-day appointments are available, and most insurance and Medicare are accepted. The Clinics, Marksville, 4242 Highway 1192, 402-4073, online at theclinics.us.
You have a Class A or B CDL? Want to drive a local route every day? If you said yes, then you're who we're looking for. Waste Connections of Alexandria, Natchitoches, and Lafayette is hiring drivers with CDL license. You'll get competitive wages, paid vacations, a company stock program, a 401k with company match, medical, dental, vision, life, and disability insurance, and a local route with you at home with your family every night. Apply now at wasteconnections.com/employment. That's wasteconnections.com.
Jeff Landry is working hard to bring down outrageous insurance costs. Jeff is holding both trial lawyers and insurance companies accountable because they are both to blame. Last year, Governor Landry signed 27 bills to fix insurance and fight lawsuit abuse. This year, Governor Landry is fighting for more to stop frivolous lawsuits, stop uninsured drivers from suing, and end trial lawyer ads that promote a culture of suing. Landry listened to insurance companies and signed into law nearly every bill they promised would drive rates down. Well, insurance broke their promise and rates went up. Now Landry is trying something new. Hold insurance companies accountable when rates go up. Our insurance commissioner should have the power to reject their rate hikes when they rake in billions in profit. To learn about Governor Landry's plan to fix our insurance crisis, visit fixthecrisis.la. Paid for by Protect Louisiana Values.
Families are talking about University View Academy, a proven K-12 online education for families across Louisiana.
UVA is K through 12 online
tuition-free learning. It's not homeschool. Olivia and Wyatt are able to attend live sessions online with Louisiana certified teachers, and then I can reinforce what they are learning here at home.
My kids are able to work ahead at their own pace, and they're earning valuable college credits.
Learn more and enroll at universityview.academy/Louisiana.
The Greenhouse presents a cat owner's thank you note. To my dear friend, my partner in crime, thank you for the way you warm my lap. Thank you for your purr and the way it says pet me. Thank you for that look. You know the one. But most of all, thank you for adopting me, for accepting me as I am, and for being part of my family. I will always love you. Signed, your human. The Greenhouse.
Talk back. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
Welcome back to Talk Back on Terrific Tuesday with Trish and Nathan. Glad to have you along for the ride. As we come into our last two segments of the hour, the question is, do you still have some of your old tech gadgets laying around the house? Trish, I know you do.
Absolutely, we do. I know. New survey that was just published said that most people still have a BlackBerry hidden in a drawer somewhere, all the old models of their iPhones somewhere, like old gaming systems, laptops, all those things, because what do you do with these things, Nathan?
Mm-hmm.
And do you trust what you're doing with them? I think, is that the reason people hold on to them?
You know, you may have some stuff on there you don't want anybody to see, and you may not even know if it'll power up anymore to wipe it out, so you just hold on to it.
Or even if you do, like, do the reset on them or stuff like that, does it really get rid of everything? I don't know, you know? And is there any value in any of it?
It just sits there and takes space. I actually threw one away recently that it was an old Palm Pilot from back in the
I remember Palm
20
Pilot.
odd years ago. I'm like, you know what? This really is just taking up space. And there's not a good recycler locally that I know of that you can take electronic things to. But, what do you do with that stuff?
Well, interestingly enough, another one of our show prep headlines talked about how VHS is actually starting to make a comeback, that millennials are like, they're done with the streaming because they want to feel like they actually physically own something.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going back to VHS movies, and they're having all these boutique video rental pop-ups happening in places around the country. And it says in New York over the weekend, thousands of fans showed up for the city's first ever tape fair. Like, I have drawers of these things, Nathan.
Yep,
now, they're not all in their sleeve. They're just the videotape. I don't know why, but I'm going to keep watch on this.
Yeah.
Because you never know. I could have some money sitting there.
Right.
Because I don't have anything that'll play them.
No.
You know?
Were you kind enough to rewind? Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. You're on Talk Back with Trish and Nathan.
Hey, I listen to the show most every morning.
Yes.
And I listen with one of those old Walkman AM FM radios.
Nice.
Love it. And it still works.
I have a stereo tuner with the AM, FM, or whatever. I think I have a remote for it. But anyway, it's just easier to listen with a Walkman, stick them little earphones in my ear. And
I love it.
I remember the Walkman, and when I first got a Walkman, and then when I got a Discman, because, that's what you could put in your car, and the cassette would go in the cassette player, and then, you could play your disc that way, too.
I'm really aggravated that vehicles don't have CD players anymore.
Another thing that I have a huge collection of that I don't know what I'm going to do with them.
I do too.
We all had our sleeves on our visors, the really cool kids had like the 6 CD changer or the CD changer. You put multiple CDs in there.
Well, we talk about driving these days and distracted driving, but yet you had that 6 CD changer in the glove box that you'd be sitting there pulling out and flipping through and grabbing your CD from your visor and putting it in the right way, like doing all of that while you were driving too, So.
I love the Walkman. I never, we always had the off-brand. I couldn't afford the Sony stuff, but they were so convenient.
Yeah.
Walking down the street with a boombox on your shoulder, Okay, we just showed the signs of our times.
Yeah, that's much easier to clip on your belt, stick your headphones on. You were good to go.
By the way, I hate to tell you this, Trish, but Nepal is putting some new restrictions on who gets to climb Mount Everest, and it's not going to be as easy as it used to be. In case you were thinking about going there, over the summer.
Yeah, that's exactly what was on my summer plans, was climbing Mount Everest. And with the fear of heights that I have right now, anyway.
Yeah, right? Well, they're going to say that in order to climb the 29,000-foot high Mount Everest, you have to have already climbed a mountain that's at least 23,000 feet or higher, and health checks will be mandatory. You'll have to disclose if you're trying to break a record. They did this back in the 90s, and then tourism fell off, but they're going to try it again. I think because it's becoming so popular, Instagram, people want to go
That's
take
the thing.
pictures.
Yeah. Social media, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to go have your Instagram pictures while you're doing this. And
I was in Nepal in 2007 and was in Kathmandu for a little while, and Everest is beautiful. You can see it from there, you see it from anywhere, but I have never, ever wanted to climb Mount Everest.
I want to go to the top of that.
No, absolutely not. Too many people have died doing that, and besides, I just don't like being cold. That's why I live in the South. I mean, you know how many layers you got to wear to climb that sucker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, there's no way my knee could handle even the beginning of all of that. But yeah, my whole height stuff that has developed as I've gotten older, I don't know. It's irrational. I don't know where it even comes from, but that would not be happening for me.
No, I don't see that in either of our futures, so don't have to worry about that one. We still have a little bit of time left. We come back, we're going to just chit-chat with you on your calls, 318-442-8255, as we wrap up the show this morning. And we've been looking around the state. We've been curious about your favorite or most impressive thing about Trump's first 100 days. He will have an interview this evening on ABC, odd choice, I think, for his 100 days.
I know, an interesting choice of which, because, that's the only one that he's doing with this 100-day interview.
But I think he's got a rally somewhere today, too, if I'm not mistaken, so maybe in Michigan. I'm not sure where. 4 o'clock, he'll be at the Michigan National Guard at the Selfridge Air National Guard Base, and then he will be sharing with the Fox Pool, it says, at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So he did have a couple of appearances, but he'll be in Michigan today, giving his 100-day speech at the Macomb County Community College Sports Expo Center. That's impressive. I know they're going happy to have that to put on their resume for the future.
That's right.
We'll be back with more with you on Talkback.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Join us for the Free Health and Wellness Expo, Wednesday, May 14th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Paragon Casino Resort. Free admission and fun for all ages. Health screening, community resources, education, kids activities, door prizes, and more. Call 318-253-2015. That's 318-253-2015 for a free booth space. Plus, you can visit ParagonCasinoResort.com and click on the Promotions tab for more details. Here's to your health at Paragon Casino Resort in Marksville.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
They told us nothing but lies.
These timeshare thieves out there are terrible.
They bullied us.
Our timeshare is all a scam.
They stole from us. They were thieves.
I was completely taken advantage of.
Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder and CEO of Wesley Financial Group, and I know the tough spot you're in. Are you asking yourself, why did I buy that timeshare? I'll tell you why, because that presentation wasn't a normal sales pitch. It was a show to convince you that timeshare is a great investment. They told you it was available today and today only. They said you're foolish if you don't buy, and unfortunately, you believed them. We get over 3,000 complaints a week from folks just like you that were misled into buying a timeshare. Give us a call. I guarantee you, if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information information kit. 800-885-3300. 800-885-3300. 800-885-3300.
Do you want to take a vacation every day? Do you want to know where your children are this coming summer? Then call A1 Pools now and have a swimming pool installed in your yard. A1 Pools can build your pool and have you swimming with your family before summer starts. Make a splash. Call A1 Pools now and get a free quote. Call 318-449-2093 and financing is available. Call A1 Pools now. 318-449-2093.
Freedom from drug addiction happens in NA meetings. It is possible to stop using drugs, and they can help. Call Narcotics Anonymous at 1-585-DON'T-USE or visit their website at larna.org for more information.
To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
It's the final segment, and here comes a phone call. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Trish and Nathan.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I am wonderful. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Thank you very much.
Okay, 2 points. Number one, this morning on Fox and Friends, they reported that basically the networks give Trump 92% negative coverage.
Believe that.
And you know, how does a guy get a good rating if all you hear is bad stuff?
Right. Well, and that's what I really appreciate you pointing that out, because there's been a lot of talk lately about how his approval numbers are down. But if he's being beat up all the time, of course his approval ratings will go down.
Yeah. The second thing is insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought when we elected Governor Landry, he would be more effective with this. But so far, he's not shown anything. The point is, in Sabine Parish alone, there's probably 900 Southern Baptist churches.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, all these little churches start up because John got mad at Fred, and Mary's a busybody, and, you know, those people think they're much better than me, so they start a new church. Right now, and I'm not going to mention a particular one, but I'm Southern Baptist. My wife is Catholic. And the Catholic church she goes to, their insurance went up by $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to either get parishioners to donate to help defray the cost, or they're going to have to take a loan.
Wow.
I mean, think about it. Churches are basically tax exempt. Looks like to me, they could pass something that would say insurance can only be so much or so this or that for churches. That's all I'm asking.
Man, I appreciate that. I'll tell you, you may know or may not know, I pastor a church, and our insurance...
Yes, sir, I do know that. Thank God for you.
Thank you for that. Last year, our insurance doubled.
Really?
It did. And I talked to several pastors. I've heard of $10,000, $20,000, and $30,000 increases on churches. Now, again, churches can be a particular target. Some of them have larger campuses, so the general liability can be great. Some of them have, multi-million-dollar facilities that they built up over many, 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 many years, and when they stopped, writing insurance policies on cash value and started making them replacement cost. A lot of those places were built, for example, our church was built by the members of our church. It took us 5 years to build it. We paid cash as we went, and we built it for probably a third of the price that if we, had hired a contractor. And I'm for contractors, but that's just how we did it.
Yeah.
If something were to happen, we would pull together again. So we only wanted a cash value policy. Instead, they forced us to have a replacement value, and their price doubled. So yeah, that's a reality there.
Yeah, it's really, really an anomaly that churches, are tax exempt, and I agree with that 100%. But on this insurance thing, somebody should step up and do something. It's one of the only, if you want to call it a business, one of the only businesses that's really getting hit hard, and it's unfair.
Well, it certainly feels. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I know the truckers have really received some help and attention because the truck drivers, their costs have gone through the roof, and I don't know that anybody's championing churches like you just have, so I really appreciate that call.
Well, I went to a small Baptist church in Shreveport for 34 years called Broadmoor Baptist.
A little small Baptist church, huh?
It's a little mission church with about 7,000 members.
Right.
So, but thank you for all you do. Thank you standing up for Jesus on the radio.
You're very kind.
I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart.
Well, that means more than I can say that you would say that. Thank you so much for your call.
God bless you today, sir.
God bless you. Thank you very much. That was very kind.
That was a perfect call to end out our show today, Nathan.
Now, let me just mention, I went to the Holocaust Memorial last night. There on the kind of where, I think it's Elliott Street and 3rd Street run in. Beautiful facility, beautiful outdoor memorial. Kudos to Pastor Chris Thacker of Emmanuel Church and Rabbi Judy Ginsburg for putting that on every year. Very, very moving, and was glad to be there. I slipped out from there, went to the Marine Band concert at Pineville High School.
Yep.
Phenomenal concert. So we got 2 tastes of culture last night.
Great things in our community. We hit the symphony Saturday night for that, and that was a wonderful, wonderful thing for our community, too. Wonderful. So great things happening all around.
Well, stick around tomorrow. It'll be Trish and Al, right? The Trish and Al show on Wednesday morning. Thank you guys for joining today. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7:20.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers.